Hi, my name is Skotheimsvik and I will talk to you about how branding unifies the distributed workforce. So I have a broad experience and passion for Microsoft technology from my career starting in the late 1990s. Initially as an in-house IT expert, but I moved to consulting in the mid-2000s, covering all aspects from delivering cutting-edge expertise. And since September 22, I've been a senior cloud consultant at Cloudway, focusing on Microsoft 365 and the endpoint management. So why should we deal with the distributed workforce? Well, the traditional model is centralized with some random remote workers. Like remote sets an expectation that some people are central and some are not. This might fit organizations where this happens accidentally. But today this is a conscious decision for more and more. We don't use the remote work anymore. We use the word distributed to describe the workforce of today. So everyone is on an equal playing field. Personally, I have long experience. So back in 2017, way before COVID, I did know I was a remote worker. So I decided to track my presence. So all my time was logged in Outlook calendar with location information. And it turned out that 75% of my time was spent at the home office. And this didn't happen just over the night into 2017, the 1st of January. This has been a habit of mine for a long time. And when I started in Cloudway, I did that without even meeting anyone personally there. I haven't met them yet. And I have been working as consultant with a lot of customers I have never met in real life. So I know how it feels like to work distributed. And I have a feeling of what it takes to feel unified working distributed. So think about this. I believe talent and intelligence are equally distributed around the world, but opportunity is not. That's why we have to deal with a distributed workforce. So in the large cities, the big tech companies are fishing for talent from the same small lake or bay. But if we make the company distributed, we can fish for talent in the entire ocean. So instead of hiring someone who grew up in Germany but lives in Oslo, you can hire someone who lives, works, wakes up and goes to sleep wherever they are in the world. As you might remember, this is how I got hired at Cloudway. They were fishing in the entire ocean and found me at the west coast of Norway. So people want to influence over how they do their work. So everyone can make their own schedule. Everyone can have a corner office with a large monitor setup, with a window, and the food they want to eat, and they can choose to have music on or work in silence, and they can select their own temperature at the office. And they can save time commuting and use that time for other more important things in life. So, if we look at this guy, this is Matt Mullenweg, co-founder of the open source blogging platform WordPress, the most popular publishing platform on the web today. He runs a $1 billion company with no offices or email. He has over 800 employees spread over 67 countries. And he says that as long as our employees can find good Wi-Fi, we don't care where they are. Think about that. And as I said, my career in Cloudway wouldn't happen if I had to move. So now I guess we have stated the why we should deal with the distributed workforce. So let's look at how. How can we work in a distributed team? So technically, Microsoft 365 gives the opportunities to work in a safe and effective way as an employee, independent of location, independent of time, independent of device, because all the apps in Office 365 platform works wherever you are. And still as a company we can manage the environment in a safe and effective way. Identities are secure throughout the lifespan. Devices are secure from chip to cloud, patched and configured wherever they are. And data is securely managed across devices and identities. And this makes the foundation for the modern, borderless workforce. But how? How can you make sure all distributed employees identify themselves and feel connected with the company? Think of the entire ocean. Employees are drifting around in small boats or small home offices, all by themselves, and other companies might be chasing them. How can we unify the people to feel connected with the company? Let's take a look at the pyramid of quiet quitting. I think that can be relevant. So the pyramid of quiet quitting is all about the company's ability to build a relationship that makes employees want to stay. And from bottoms up, it's all about trust, consistency, feeling valued, sense of belonging, and communication. So let's keep this in mind while solving our challenge with the distributed workforce. How can we unify a distributed team in order to keep them? We need to unify the distributed workforce. And there might be some challenges with the distributed workers that we don't have with the central workers. And it's the danger of the employee not feeling united or connected to the company. And the danger of employees getting burned out because they are sitting all by themselves, working intense at their home office. And the danger of employees finding another employer within the worldwide workplace. So we can do some cultural actions to meet those challenges. For instance, the No Meeting Friday, where you have one day in a week, the Friday, where you have no meetings, no internal meetings, no customer meetings. You can declutter your mind. You can have a perfect work-life harmony. You can empty your inbox and get into personal growth on that day. We can implement social calls where we can meet the team for bonding and grow the community inside the company. And we can focus on the digital well-being, where we can work smart in the digital world so we don't get burned out. So there are cultural stuff we can do, but there are also technological hacks, which this presentation is kind of all about. And the main technological hack I will focus on is the branding. So a brand is a name, a term, design, symbol, or any other feature that distinguishes one company's good or service from those of other companies. And brands are used for recognition, creating values and identification. And a brand is the sum of all expressions by which an entity, like person, organization, company, business unit, city, nation, and so on, intends to be recognized. So let's make the brand available and visible everywhere it might fit in. And this matches with the pyramid of quiet quitting, with consistency and belonging. So a clear brand builds identity and affiliation. The traditional offices has a lot of branding, which the distributed normally is missing. Think of it like the branded office spaces with the carpets and curtains and stuff like that, and office supplies like coffee cups, pencils, notice blocks, clothes, and so on. With a workforce spread all over the modern hybrid workplace, it is more important than ever to spread the love of the company's brand. Microsoft 365 and Intune has a rich set of tools for customizing your brand directly into the products. This will look nice, integrated, and consistent. So let's take a deep dive into the possibilities associated with branding your tenant, your endpoints, and your data. Let's put our brand to Microsoft 365. Because Microsoft has added features for branding your Microsoft 365 tenant in several ways. both with text, colors and graphics. This will give a consistent experience when users sign in. The branding can define and strengthen the experience of working in your company, even if the work is performed outside of the office locations. And this is a small but important step for identity of the company. So as you can see here, we have the banner logo at the top of the sign-in page. We have a background image and we have the sign-in page text, which all identifies the company. At the same time, we can relate this to the security work, because users can distinguish a legal login from a falsified one just with a glance on the branding. So this is a branded sign-in experience, and this is configured in the Azure portal. You find company branding in Azure Active Directory, and you can add separate brandings per language. And inside the branding configuration, you add several graphics. So we add the background image, we add the banner logo, and we add the square logos, and we add the text. And pay attention to the attributes the graphics must follow. Each graphic has information regarding dimensions and sizes. Let's move on and look at branding the Office 365 experience. We can adjust the graphical interface of Office 365 with the logo and the color scheme. So this is done in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. If we go to Settings, Org Settings and Organization Profile, we find the custom theme. And this has 3 tabs, and the first one, General. We can tick to prevent user from overriding this theme. And the second tab is all about the logos. We can upload the logo, and we can even provide an on-click link, which sends the user to a URL if they click on the logo. And the third tab is about the colors. So we can add the colors from the branding of the company. And we can often find the color scheme on the company's webpage. So if we use a color picker on the webpage, we can find the colors. And PowerToys has a nice tool for this, and we can even use the developer tools inside Microsoft Edge. So by saving the theme and refreshing, we can enjoy the new create. So the standard Microsoft 365 experience is the one at the top here. And below you can see the one we created now. And while we are inside the org settings, we can also take a look at the help desk information. If we put the help desk information inside here, it will be easily available to our users. This information will be easily available for the users in the online Office 365 versions. By clicking the question mark, it will reveal this information, and by providing this information, hopefully the distributed workforce will feel as part of the company. It will be a simple step to meet most of the pyramid of quiet quitting. They will feel trust, consistency, feeling valued, the belonging and the communication. And by providing the help desk information like this, the threshold for reaching out for help will be lower. And this information can also be provided in services like the self-service password reset. So self-service password reset is a service helping you getting back into your account if you lost your credentials. It's also a great service if your password has been exposed, so you can reset your password without an awkward call to the help desk. So if the user has problem with the self-service password reset, you can put your help desk information directly out to the end user. And this is an easy configuration. By customizing the password reset, you can click yes here, customize help desk link, and we add our URL. So let's move on to the company portal, which is a self-service portal available on all devices from Windows, macOS, iOS, iPadOS, and Android. And it gives access to install applications and control your devices and much more. And the company portal can be branded with the logo, color scheme, help desk information, and so on. And we find this in the Intune portal. If we move to tenant administration and customization, we can edit the information. And here we can add information about our company like text and color schemes and logos. And we can even add the help desk information. And this gives the consistency throughout the company portal. With all this in place and autopilot configured, the company can send brand new Windows devices directly from distributor to end user. And when the end user boots the device, it will be branded out of the box. This will be based on the information provided already. And this is value added from our previous steps. So when the user boots the device, it will find the banner logo, it will find the username hint, and it will find the sign-in page text. When signing in, it will also see the standardized sign-in picture with the background info and stuff like that. As soon as the device has been onboarded, we can even see small details like the host name, which is also kind of branded. So the devil is in the details. We can even brand the device name. And this is easily done in the autopilot deployment profile where we can add a device name template. And regarding the autopilot, we can also define the device enrollment notification, which gives the end user a notification when a new device is enrolled with their user account. And this keeps them up to date on their account, and it's in line with the pyramid of quiet quitting regarding communication, value, consistency, belonging, and trust. And this allows the end user to act if this is unknown to them. And the configuration is done in the Intune Admin Center, where we can set up enrollment notifications. And here we can add the welcome message to the end user and include information on what to do if they don't have done any device onboarding recently. And this setting will use the branded information already provided during the tenant setup earlier in this process. The next thing we can take a look at is the organization message. This is a new feature announced at Ignite 22. And it's designed to better involve, connect, and engage the users, which is perfect for the subject of the distributed team. It's easy to send taskbar messages, taskbar area notifications, get started app messages, and it works regardless of the location of the user. And this is also targeting the pyramid of quiet quitting. It creates sense of belonging, consistency, communication, and feeling valued. The configuration is easily performed in Intune Admin Center, where we add the logos and the text we want to send out. Now let's move on to personal portraits, the virtual personal brand for the employees. It's as important today as the firm handshake a decade ago. Do some spendings on quality portraits. They are often the representative for your first impression in the digital world. So each user account in Microsoft 365 can be enriched with a portrait of the employee. This will be visible around in the Office applications, at the onboarded devices, and in the online services. And this is a simple implementation today with a PowerShell script or by using third-party applications. So, do you see what else is wrong with this screenshot? Yeah, the background image is not branded. So, both the lock screen and the desktop background can be managed through Intune. And this might be the most visible branding on the Windows desktop. Both of these can easily be configured in Intune for implementation on enterprise versions of Microsoft Windows. And other versions can be managed by scripting. And this will also be for other operating systems. So let's look at the small details inside Windows and applications. You can put information about the company, help desk information, and so on inside the system info on Windows. This might create a sense of belonging. And we use a PowerShell script for this in Intune. And this PowerShell script, I put it available on my GitHub. So if you scan this QR code, you will find the script. The next thing I will look at is branding the Microsoft Defender. We can add help desk contact information inside the Windows security information. And it's nice to have this available for users feeling alone and unsure for the warnings found in the Windows Security Center. It's nice to have the help desk information easily available. And this is added as a device configuration profile inside Intune. The next thing we will look at is branding the Microsoft Edge browser. We can brand this with a start page for the company, and we can add favorites for the company to make sure that all users have updated links to the tools we are using. This is also easily done in Intune. We add the startup page and the homepage URL and stuff like that, and we add the favorites. And this kind of settings can also be defined for other operating systems and browsers, like for instance Chrome. So now I think it's time to take a brief look at the applications, and the first we start with is Microsoft Outlook. This is still a carrier of culture, even though most of the communication today has moved to Microsoft Teams. So what we see on the screen now is an example or two of bad and incomplete email signatures. We are missing contact information and we are missing details, and it's hard to reach out to these users. So earlier I have been using PowerShell scripts to make it easy for employees to get a uniform signature with user details taken from the catalog, like Active Directory or Azure AD. And this could make like uniform the signatures. Today we have nice third-party tools for this, syncing details from Azure AD, dealing with marketing campaigns and stuff like that. And this kind of tools are phenomenal. They keep data in sync, they keep data accurate, and they keep signatures uniform despite the platform. And Microsoft has now even made a sync of email signatures available, so the signature syncs from device to device. Most information workers of today are producing documents inside Microsoft Office, being like Word, Excel or PowerPoint. And by utilizing SharePoint organizational assets, it's easy to give the distributed workforce access to company-branded templates directly in their applications, regardless of the location. So if they go to New and click on the company name, they will find their templates. So you can read more about organizational assets on the URL behind this QR code. I won't go into more details about this. And Microsoft Teams has also a lot of branding stuff available. So we can look at the Teams backgrounds. Microsoft Teams has a nice function for background filters, allowing meeting participants to blur or hide the background when attending online meetings. And by creating branded company backgrounds, each employee can really feel part of a unified team when attending digital meetings. And there are several techniques available for distributing this kind of content. So please read more about this in my blog post covering the branding. Here you will also find other branding tips for Teams content, like Microsoft Viva Connections and the Teams Store, which all can be branded. And this blog post will also cover even more small details and tips regarding digitally branding your disconnected workforce, and how the branding we have done incorporates the general user interface found in Windows, both in text and graphics. And you will find information on how to do deeper customization of the branding for the Windows theme and the start menu and stuff like that. And there are also some information related to branding third-party application patching. And you will find more information of branding Mac OS, Androids, Surface Hubs, iOS and iPadOS. devices. So I have chosen not to cover all this tiny but still important information today. So please read the blog post for those details. So at the end of this session, I will return to the starting point. The challenge was to make the remote workers feel unified and connected to the company. And I mentioned that the traditional offices has a lot of branding, which the distributed workforce normally is missing. They have branded office spaces, office supplies, coffee cups, pencils, notice blocks, and clothes and stuff like that. But does it have to be this way? Why can't the workforce have access to the same type of branded goods when working distributed? Give them branded clothes, coffee cups, swag, pens and paper, stickers, subscription to the local gym and more, regardless of where they work. But make it of high quality. Make it high quality to make sure that they want to use it. Let the workforce feel connected and unified regardless of location. Don't let the other companies fishing in employee ocean catch your employees. Be smart. Use technology. Unify your distributed team. Thanks.